MSNBC host Chris Hayes hates it when news outlets, like Fox News, reports on crime. I'm Julio, Rosas, senior writer over at Townhall, and today we're going to be talking about journalists against journalism. The other day, Chris tweeted this: "Cannot overstate the degree to which gruesome surveillance footage of black people committing violent crimes has become the quasi-permanent wallpaper on Fox these days, just over and over and over." Now, Chris's tweet leaves out one thing, and it's pretty obvious why. It's the victims of the crimes that Fox News likes to report on. Now, why would he do this? Well, it's because it would undercut his day ending in Y accusation of racism. For example, when I covered shootings in Chicago over the 4th of July weekend this past year, the vast majority of the victims of those shootings were black and brown people, which included children. One was a 10-year-old boy who was shot in the leg when he was in his room when a gunman outside the home opened fire. In another example, a black infant was hit with glass shards when the car he was in was attacked by a drive-by shooter. So where was Chris during that weekend? I didn't see him there. In other words, Chris wants you to ignore these crimes, which are often happening in broad daylight, by the way, because it's racist to notice. And Chris wants you to ignore the victims because it doesn't fit the narrative that he wants to push. This is the same idiotic line of thinking that I encountered when I was covering the 2020 BLM and Antifa riots. Because this supposed racial justice movement was consistently having riots, the people within the movement hated it when reporters, such as myself, would accurately report on the violence that would happen at these events. And the reason why they didn't like the violence being reported on is because the victims of the violence being perpetrated by the rioters were, once again, black and brown people.
How was last night?
Scary. I live in the high-rise right back here, and I seen them as they came down Lake Street. But then they turned and started coming over here, and I'm sitting out looking in out my window. And they went straight to Office Max, the dollar store, and every store over here that I go to. I have nowhere to go now. I have no way to get there because the buses aren't running. These people did this for no reason. It's not going to bring George back here. George is in a better place than we are. And last night, I'm going to be honest, I wish I was where George was because this is ridiculous. These people are tearing up our livelihood. This is the only place I could go to shop. And now I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anywhere to get there.
It's people like Chris who are in the media and in activist circles who never have to deal with the consequences of the soft on crime policies that they push because they can often afford to live in the safer part of their crime-ridden city. They could care less about who is getting shot, stabbed, or mugged because to notice is racism. This is a dangerous line of thinking because it will only lead to the deaths of more black and brown people.